How are we? It's time for another live session. So what we're going to cover today is I'm going to go over a few questions that I got throughout the week. Then we're going to, after that, shift onto test boosters. So we're going to cover everything about test boosters, everything from what is testosterone, how is it made, how is it regulated, why do people feel they need test boosters, how we can actually boost testosterone, and then, yeah, of course, all the supplement side of things. So guys, while we're loading this up, chuck up a few questions. I'm just going to finish off a couple of things here, and then we'll get straight into it, crack straight on into it. Alrighty guys, let's crack on in. So, first things first, we're going to go back and going to cover a few of the questions which we got last time. And one of them came from Joey. And Joey was asking, after watching the live video of fasted cardio, he said, what about protein after fasted cardio or weights? Should I be having them or continue intermittent fasting for fat loss after a workout? There's no need to intermittent fast after a workout for extra fat loss. In the end of the day, the bulk of your fat loss is going to come from being in a caloric deficit anyway. So you don't really need to worry about that one whatsoever. As far as getting your protein in after fasted weights, I always recommend getting in a protein source immediately after you do weights. Yeah, I recommend getting it in as soon as possible. I recommend BCAAs and EAAs, preferably EAAs, over protein because it's much better digested. Now Joseph's asked about, can I do a little bit more about intermittent fasting and my opinion on that? I'll hit that up in the next live video because that's a really in-depth topic. I don't want to just spend 2 minutes on it. We'll end up spending about 15, 20, 30 minutes covering that one. Now Jess has asked, is it still fasted cardio if I have a bit of apple cider vinegar, psyllium husk, lemon and coffee with, some lactose-free milk in it? Yeah, it really is. If you start taking BCAAs, EAAs and stuff like that before you work out, which have actually got caloric content, then no, you ruin the fast. So with fasted cardio, it's not fasted if you are having BCAAs or protein or stuff like that beforehand to prevent the catabolic properties to muscles. You don't need to worry anything about that. And now Adam's also asked, EAAs and BCAAs during and after the workout versus whey post-workout results. I think BCAAs and EAAs are a shitload better than whey. Straight up, way better. So it's chalk and cheese. I can hardly compare whey to BCAAs and EAAs. The reduction in DOMS is so much better. I would 100% recommend going for whey going for EAAs and BCAAs over whey. All right. Now, that's all the Q&A stuff done for now, unless you guys get anything else. What I'm going to do is get straight on into the test boosters. So if you guys have any questions, post them up below and we'll get through to them at the end. Alrighty. Let's hit it. Okay, so first of all, what we're going to do is we're not just going to look and say, are these test boosting supplements good or not? Because there are so many different answers to absolutely everything. So we're actually going to go through and we're going to cover how every single test booster, all the aspects of testosterone, so how it's made, what it is, all that stuff. So we can actually learn, and so you can look at all future test boosters which come out and discern whether they're right for you or not, or whether they're bullshit or not. Okay? So first things first, what is testosterone? So it's a molecule, it's a hormone, steroid hormone, which binds to the androgen receptor that promotes muscle growth, promotes fat loss, lipolysis, protein synthesis, and a whole heap of stuff like that. It makes you feel good, it makes you feel young, and it gives you a whole heap of energy. Alright? So that's what test is. Now, how is it made? So testosterone actually starts from cholesterol and saturated fat. That's why it is such a stupid idea to follow the recommended dietary guidelines by the Australian government or whatever government who recommends having this much saturated fat in your diet. I am a big advocate for a minimum of about 25% of your total caloric intake to come from saturated fat, among other things. Rather than saturated fat, 25% of your total caloric intake to come from fat in general. All right? If you have less than this, then your testosterone levels start petering out. The studies say 15%, I say 25%. The reason why this is because testosterone is made from cholesterol. So cholesterol is carved off into pregnenolone, which has gone into another pregnenolone, and then into DHEA, androstenedione, and then is cleaved off by this little enzyme and then made into testosterone. Okay, so that's how the pathway goes. Now, if you don't have enough saturated fat there, you don't make cholesterol, which in turn means that you can't make testosterone. So it's really, really super important to have that. Now, how is testosterone regulated and testosterone production regulated? Okay, so as you all know, we don't have never-ending amounts of testosterone. So no matter how healthy you are, or no matter how many test boosters or whatever you take, you don't have just skyrocketing levels of testosterone. All right? The reason why your body would shut down and become toxic, your liver would go into failure and all that stuff. So, how's it regulated? Now, when you have testosterone, all right, it's not just generated by your nads itself, okay? It actually starts all the way in your brain. So it starts with this thing called the hypothalamus, which releases a thing called gonadotropin releasing hormone, which goes into a gland in your brain called the pituitary gland, and that releases luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. All right, they then travel all the way down to your nads, and the luteinizing hormone, the follicle stimulating hormone, they bind into your nuts, and they go into this. They stimulate production of testosterone from this cell called the Leydig cell. Okay, now when you have higher levels of testosterone that are above what your body needs, well, not even. When you have any testosterone, your testosterone, some of it will travel back up and bind into your brain, and it will tell your brain that there is testosterone present. Okay, there's a little signal which goes back up there and tells you that it's there. And your brain will then regulate it. So it's constantly chopping and changing how much luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone it's sending down to your nuts to produce tests. Okay? So, why do people want to boost testosterone? The main reasons are people are actually deficient in testosterone. Okay, so if you don't have enough testosterone, you're going to feel like you need more because you're going to lack morning wood, you're going to lack your sex drive, you're going to not feel great, your training sessions are going to go down, you're not going to gain as much muscle, you're going to be less insulin sensitive, so you're going to gain a bit of fat, your strength's going to go down, a whole heap of these factors are going to come in, so people want to boost it. On top of that, people want to go above what a normal human has, so they want to be even better than what a normal human gets. Now, the problem with the latter is that you can't really do that terribly much because your brain regulates everything. It senses what's going on, and so it will reduce your output of your natural test stimulation if it feels that your testosterone levels are so high. But anyway, so we'll go on to now test boosting supplements. So there are several ways which you can boost test and get it above the normal human levels, okay? So first things first, if you want to go above normal human levels, you can take testosterone. So if you take exogenous testosterone or steroids or anything like that, that will push up your testosterone levels. However, we all know what happens when you do that. When you take testosterone, it sends the feedback loop up to your brain, which goes down to your nads and shuts off your natural production, okay? And it can do this for an extended period of time. So for most people, 99% of people, it's not going to work. However, as you'll see throughout this video, if you want to get freakishly high levels of testosterone, that's actually the only way to do it. Because when we get onto supplements right now, none of them work, alright? So, things like D-aspartic acid, tribulus, horny goatweed, ginseng, ashwagandha, laxagenin, epicatetian, yohimbine, all those stuff, they don't work. There are literally no test boosters in the world which work on a healthy person. If you're between the age of, anywhere up to 35, none of these test boosters are going to work for you at all, okay? Straight out. Tribulus is bullshit. All Tribulus does is stimulates blood flow to the part of your penis, which expands when you get a hard-on, meaning that you create more bonus, which means you think that you've got more testosterone because you've got more of a sex drive. Same thing with horny goatweed, same thing with ginseng, okay? So they just flat out don't work. D-aspartic acid, if you have low levels of testosterone, if you have low levels of testosterone and your diet isn't adequate, then D-aspartic acid can actually increase your testosterone levels, but not to more than what they would be on a healthy person. They never go to that next level. They only ever get up to like a healthy-ish level. That's it. Maxes out right there. Okay? That's absolutely it. Your himbine, that was I really don't advise you take your himbine at all. Some people say that they get sex drive benefits from it, but I think you just, more than anything, you get a noradrenaline and cortisol rush. All right, I would not recommend taking your himbine because it doesn't burn fat, doesn't build muscle, and I've seen no evidence whatsoever for it to be for it to be increasing your levels of testosterone. Okay, now I think what you want to get out of that is that if you have healthy levels of testosterone already, you can't really boost them. All right, if you're naturally peaking, you can't take yourself to the next level using a supplement. That's for sure. The only way you can do it is by using steroids and well, yeah, I don't think you really want to be doing that. But if you are deficient in testosterone and you're not feeling your greatest, how you can boost it is actually really quite simple. Number one is look after your diet, okay? So make sure that you have lots of saturated fat in your diet. Roughly 25% of your caloric intake, I recommend, should come from total fat, and then I like having at least 50% of that coming from saturated fat. So have a lot of saturated fat in your diet, okay? Don't worry about cholesterol. I mean, over the next 10 years or so, we're going to start seeing lots of studies coming out which show that saturated fat doesn't actually impact your cholesterol to a whole large degree, okay? The next thing is, with your diet, make sure that you're not eating foods which inflame your gut. When you get inflammation, your cortisol levels go up. Now, the funny thing about cortisol is that it's made from cholesterol as well, much like testosterone. So if you have an increased demand for cortisol, then you'll have cholesterol going off into cortisol rather than going in and making testosterone. So you need to make sure that your cortisol levels are down and thus your inflammation levels are down, okay? The next thing is look after your neurotransmitter levels. If you have low levels of dopamine, I always see guys have low levels of testosterone. It's a massive correlation. Don't think there's any science. I've never read anything on it, but that's what I see throughout training, like 1,200 people so far. So yeah, with neurotransmitters, you need to make sure that they're all in line. Everything has to be in balance in order for your hormones to be optimal. The next thing is make sure that you're lean. If you are carrying more body fat, then you're going to produce more of this enzyme called aromatase. When you have higher levels of aromatase, you make more estrogen. Where do you get estrogen? From testosterone. Okay? So, you need to make sure that you are really, really lean as you possibly can be. So I recommend staying around, between the 8 to 10% mark of body fat all year round. You should always have abs, in my opinion. Boys and girls should always have abs. I don't think there's any real reason why you should lose your abs, okay? So make sure that you're holding on to as much leanness as you possibly can and minimize the amount of fat that you're carrying around. The fatter you get, the lower your testosterone levels will be, regardless of caloric intake. And that leads me on to the next one. If you're in an extended caloric deficit, and you're one of those people who think, oh yeah, okay, all I have to do to, get leaner is to just, continually eat less and less and less and exercise more and more and more, you're going to eventually start causing your androgen levels to go down. In fact, all of your beneficial anabolic hormones will start going down. You need to make sure that you don't spend too long in a caloric deficit, and that in that deficit you're eating as much food as you possibly can. Okay? You don't want to be down on 1,200 calories per day, feeling like absolute rat shit, eating three sprigs of asparagus and a couple of bits of chicken breast. That's absolutely the worst way to go whatsoever for your hormones. Okay? So make sure that your calories are as high as they possibly can be. Don't sit in caloric deficits for extended periods of time. I mean, really, I would only go with some guys for a max of 16 weeks of total caloric deficit. You need to periodize your training and periodize your dieting so that you don't stay in a caloric deficit all that time, and so you're not driving your testosterone levels into the floor. All right? That's a really, really big one. So what I recommend that you do in order to boost your testosterones up as high as they possibly can be is number one, remove your stress. As I said before, when cortisol goes up, testosterone goes down. They're inversely proportionate, okay? So reduce your stress. This means reduce digestive stress, reduce your sleep stress, reduce your emotional stress, make sure that your stress in the gym is absolutely optimal, and make sure your whole life is on par. If you wake up every morning feeling awesome, if you go to bed every night feeling awesome, your testosterone levels will naturally start to look after themselves. As I said before, look after your sleep stress, so make sure that you're sleeping adequately. The number one factor in men aged over 35 having lower testosterone levels is a lack of sleep. That is the number one factor in it. Guys who sleep longer will tend to have up to 20 to 30% higher levels of testosterone. It's huge. It's absolutely an enormous amount. So make sure that you're sleeping more. If you sleep less, once again, cortisol goes up, testosterone goes down, and then on top of that, your output of luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone goes down. So you don't produce any more tests. So once again, so you lose the building blocks of testosterone and you lose the stimulation of testosterone. Next thing is diet. As I said before, make sure that you have a high amount of saturated fat in your diet and you're not inflaming your bowel. If you're inflaming your bowel or inflaming your gut, then once again, cortisol goes up, testosterone goes down, you get the stress response, which drives testosterone even further down into the floor. Alright? Astragalus. Now this is one supplement which is shown to dramatically improve and help with your testosterone levels. Now, astragalus is we've run bloods on it. I've actually seen a couple of my clients have slightly improved testosterone levels. So it will actually help you to bump up your testosterone levels to that upper range. It won't make you go super over, but it will keep you, as close to optimal as what you can. So it's a really, really good supplement. Now, how does it work? Well, it actually works by improving your immune system. And you get it, guys, when you improve your immune system, your inflammation levels go down, which brings your cortisol down, which allows your testosterone to go up. Okay, it's very, very simple. There's no real action on the brain that it has. It doesn't really improve anything up here. All it does is it makes your whole body function better so that you can then make testosterone, you can function more optimally. Okay? And as I said before, the big one is getting lean. So you need to get lean, you need to stay lean. If you're not lean, your androgens will be all out of whack. You'll have way more estrogen than what you want and way less testosterone than what you want. All right? Guys, that's it for now. I haven't seen any questions come through, so I'm going to sign off. If you do have anything else, comment them below. I'll hit them up in the next live Q&A. And yeah, I hope this helps. Enjoy.